Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third and final round of our 2023 Halloween Classic presented by Legacy Discs. We're at Sunset Park, where we're going to see our leader, Jacob Courtis, comes in with a two-stroke advantage over our hot second round thrower in Parker Welck. He's knotted up with Aaron Gossage and Cam Messerschmidt, literally and figuratively, chasing them down. We're here at the final round, as I said. Might be a 3-4 man horse race out here. That's Sigma Derby, only found at the D down on Fremont Street. The last one in the country, I believe. That's another show for another day. Here's a roller coming out of Cupcake, Jacob Courtis, to get started. We saw him go OB in round 2, but this one stays in bounds and should be a relatively easy up and down to get started. Parker Welck shot a 12 under during round 2 to jump up a couple of cards. Hot round of the weekend was 13 under in round 1 by Cupcake. So Parker in round 2 making quite a jump.
I think that should be safe.
And way out. And for the third round in a row, we're going to see Messerschmidt. This time he gets over on it more. And a much better result compared to what he saw in rounds 1 and 2. The wind up considerably. It was dead calm on Friday. A little touch of wind on Saturday on the second round, and today 30 and 40 mile an hour gusts can be had, but at least a 10 to 15 sustained wind. That should ramp things up here for Championship Sunday as we see Gossage go just right of the pin. Just routine for Jacob there, no problem. We've seen some incredible jumpers by Messerschmidt in rounds 1 and 2.
That should have been dead center perfect. No drop.
Well, not quite the wind read he was expecting as we hear a little commentary coming from him. Here's Gossage. Looks like he'll be settling for a par to open up the round, and you hear the wind. And you can see what it did there to Messerschmidt. Still leaving him with a little work to do. And Parker Welck able to save the par. There were a number of gallery members you see off on the left side of the screen that were watching and excited to take in the action. Also, quite a few people in the area waiting for us to clear out because apparently this is a pretty hot spot for Pokemon. Or Pokemon Go, which I didn't realize was still a thing. But there was quite a few people out in full force trying to get over. I think it happened to be located right near the basket. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or if that will continue to be a thing or how they move or rotate. You guys can let me know in the comments, but there were a number of people wandering around excitedly waiting. We had to actually kind of just hold them back for a moment to let our lead card push on through. Then it became all Pokemon Go all the time. Flick for Cupcake. That's left side and out of the gap. And you see the two trees. This does get framed up as a double Mando. Really, it's the route you'd want to be taking anyway, as we see Welck's shot released too low. Round 1, we saw the park job here by Gossage, just a tap in. And trying to do the same here in round 3. It kind of kicks you off into no man's land out there. Just, if you're so far out like this, it's tough to give it a bid. And you see low ceiling, not really an opportunity at all to even attack the basket. Welck off the mark. And to not entirely belabor the point, but I will repeat, a number of our competitors, I was significantly trimming off some of their pre-shot routines, and I guess that seems to be the way to go to keep things moving along. And I'm just going to blatantly say it, or bluntly say it, it isn't just Jacob that struggles with that. Couple pars as the wind is ripping. We head over to hole number 3, the only par 5 of the weekend. Gets brought down left side and just rolls OB by about a meter. As you may expect, a huge rolling result coming there from Jacob. He's got to move our catch cam. Manny, one of the many highlights of the weekend for me, getting to know him. Such a great man in the disc golf community over there in Las Vegas. Appreciate all the help and rides and a number of other things, Manny. Just barely getting past the Mando on the safe side. And we've seen this mistake by Messerschmidt a few times where it just feels like he releases early or he gets the nose up. And you see both him and Gossage. Messerschmidt literally just a few inches off the line. Gossage a little bit more. And you see what the wind is doing to the rollers. I kind of try to pan way back. Oh, 600 feet over there is where you'll find eventually the pin. Solid shot for Gossage on his 3rd after the OB. Take a look at some of the stats that we'll find out here. Hole 3 playing as the 2nd most difficult hole. Almost taking the lights out approach there. Huge hyzer. And that's going to actually put him in eagle territory. This hole averaged 0.49 above par. The 2nd most difficult hole on the course. And it runs parallel, really, to the most difficult hole, hole 16. We'll get to that, obviously, later, but... Gossage with his 4th. Have a look, but those low-hanging branches always come into play. It's a tiny little metal hit for Parker. Not a bad redirection there for Messerschmidt. I think it was going to be just fine otherwise. Now, eagle opportunity. Gossage. Let's look for par and doesn't connect and goes just deep. We'll see if Some of these trees actually, yeah, framing him up, and he carried past it, so he's going for the comebacker on the bogey attempt. Now, that's going to be a double bogey, a 7 for Gossage. So that'll be a 3-stroke swing between him and the leader, Jacob here, who's going to eventually putt in for his relatively easy birdie. So a 3-stroke swing just on this hole, giving Jacob just a little bit more breathing room. Messerschmidt will fall back to 16, and Welck in for the birdie. So trying to keep himself closer to Cupcake, but he sits 3 back of him, as we thank our presenting sponsors in Legacy Disc. And we saw this route in round number 2 of really just going up and over to the right side. We saw him stick it almost right next to the basket. This time not quite as close, but certainly in makeable territory. Welck has it dialed in. Shocked to see that this averaged over par, and that is 100% wind aided. This is sub 300 feet. Not a real threat of missing the Mando or going out of bounds. Yes, of course, an elevated pin, but you have to assume that had some play in terms of people actually going out of bounds. And Messerschmidt very quick to get up and make his approach shot. Okay, well, maybe that's how bogeys could happen. Great bounce back. We saw some frustration, understandably, by Gossage on the previous one with the double bogey. Comes back. Gets the birdie on 4. Jacob. Escape with a par. So, Parker tapping in for the birdie. Him and Gossage take control as we head over to hole number 5. Here's control of the tee. And we've commonly seen this, medium power flex shot. And that time it was carrying over to the right the entire way for Parker. Gets a kick back. And this time, Gossage doesn't quite get over on it enough, but does get a really good kick forward. See how the wind's blowing from left to right. And wasn't expecting that, but it makes sense when you've got that kind of power. Inside the circle. And this is the common shot that we saw over the first 2 rounds. And it's just a matter of, did you have the right stability to fight the wind that's blowing left to right? And it feels like at least 2 of our competitors didn't. Some of these putts you're thinking about bonus birdies. We've seen just how incredible Messerschmitt's Circle 2 is. And I want to be very clear. This isn't unique for Messerschmidt. I know he doesn't connect there, but I know this is not any kind of a special weekend for him. He has definitely always been very proudly been a Circle 2 assassin. Even a little work left, but not a problem. He'll escape with a par. He's not going to lose any ground to anyone. Doing his best Ricky Wysocki impression there. Parker in for the par. Gossage from short range. Gossage. Seemingly on tilt. You don't usually see him go through his pre-shot quite that quickly, and we also saw that Messerschmidt ended up tapping in for the par. Head to 6. This is definitely a must-get, usually playing as the easiest hole on the course. Today, tying for the easiest hole on the course, along with hole number 10. So certainly a must-get birdie. Averaged .26 under par. In calmer conditions, it the day before it averaged .53. So almost, I don't know, is that twice as easy on the previous day? And on the first day, averaged .58 under par. So getting significantly tougher, but still the easiest out here. Not finding his rhythm. Gossage off the front cage. Welck still near the backside of circle 1. Cam calls it. Beautiful putt. Gossage will tap in for the par. Welck is in for birdie. Aaron's mom, Michelle, apologizes for walking through, and Cam understandably says, he goes, if I'm missing a putt from that Ranger, you're distracting me. That's on me. And he even said as well, like, if I needed you to stop, I would have, but it was just kind of a funny moment. Speaking of funny, I know our friends over at Simply Modern Productions have comedians. They have all sorts of entertainers all on their roster. So if you're looking to add a little extra spice to any part of your corporate event or something else while you're taking place in Las Vegas, reach out to Steve and Simply Modern Productions. They've got bands, they've got performers, magicians, contortionists, a little bit of everything that they can get lined up to have at your company outing, your show, your party, whatever the case might be. Big thanks to those guys for tournament sponsorship and helping bring me and my coverage out there this year. You see just how much they're trying to fight the wind, which in this case blowing from right to left. And you see the tree there with the yellow on it, that you must go to the left of the tree. Messerschmidt getting hung up. And this is almost ideal. I mean, this is a really good spot to be in. It's just a matter of controlling the speed, because if you go deep on this pin, you can very easily find that curb in the OB. And after a really nice drive, in fact, the best of the group, Gossage stepped up and was ready to throw pretty much instantly. Easy little forehand. And just impressive to have any kind of that finesse shot. I know it's a short one, but he's throwing into a headwind and you can't go deep. Parker turns and looks and sees if I'm ready to capture his birdie. Yeah, I'm there for you, Parker. I got you. Light work for both Welck and Gossage, along with Cupcake, and he's going to be left out of the birdie frame, birdie party. Messerschmidt takes the lone par of the group. We head over to 8. This one plays as a hazard OB, meaning if you come up short, or should I say anywhere outside of the flagged area, you play from there with a penalty stroke. You don't go to a drop zone. That's something that we see up on holes, I believe, 15. But nobody's worried about a drop zone there. That's almost right next to the pin. Right now, see both Courtis and Welck seemingly trying to pull away from the rest of the group. And just barely deep, it appears. So Messerschmidt will have that left to try and save par. And the struggles here continue for Gossage. Great par save for Messerschmidt. So maybe that's the question I'll ask. I need you to put it in the comments. Do you like to see the wind ramp up, especially on Championship Sunday? Or maybe you'd love seeing wind, but you wish it was just on day 1 or 2 and they had really pristine, calm conditions for a championship round. Whatever the case is, what would you prefer? Now, we're assuming you're not playing in it. We'll use that. But when you're watching top golfers, what would you like to see? Would you like to see the windy conditions, or would you like to see them prime conditions so that they can potentially score their best? As I've said, I've got jerky, got dis, got some other sponsorship stuff that I could potentially give away here as we're seeing the tee shot on 9. I'm also have thought about, I'm nearing 100,000. My channel has been relatively dormant since all the way back in March, but I am still getting near 100,000 subs. I'm thinking if you're a Patreon supporter of mine and I get to 100,000, I feel like everyone that had supported me for 2 months or longer leading into it, I feel like I got to give you all a free disc. So, I don't know. Think about that. Once I hit 100,000 subs, I'll look back, and from that point, look back, and anyone that's supported me for at least 2 months or more via Patreon, I think I'm just going to send you a commemorative disc. I don't know. Tell me if you like that. Like, just for free. Just a free disc. As that's not wide enough. Doesn't get around the tree. Like Cam might have had a footing issue, but it didn't appear to affect him much. The overstable mid coming from Courtis. That's his signature disc. Also should result in a birdie. And Gossage again will give himself another birdie look. Birdie looks haven't been the problem. He's just been off with the putter here this round. Welck has some work to do, but calmly jams it in. He'll stay at 24 under. We're starting to close out our front 9. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. Gossage doesn't make good on the birdie look. Do all the YouTube things, though. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Sam, your TD, along with Manny, who was helping me out for the weekend. All the supporters and sponsors. Thank you guys so much. I know the Las Vegas Club also steps up and is a huge part in making this as successful as it is. Of course, our presenting sponsors in Legacy Dis. I know I'm missing Steve and Bamba and the crew here on site. I shouldn't have to be left to take Vegas on my own, but I do what I have to do for the team, for the coverage. It's all part of it. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber, and as we take a look, Jake Brown is trying to sneak up onto the podium. We'll see what him and the rest of the card will do. Just 9 holes left to go. Halloween Classic, presented by Legacy. We'll see you for the final 9.